Hey everybody, we are here with Andrew and Mo of 2Swift. 2Swift is a brand new platform to electric skateboarding, which is already starting to take the internet by storm. I don't know if you guys saw two new news articles on you guys last night. It's from like Gadget and Tech News. Of course, they're going to pick up anything on like any cool things that are coming out, but it's so cool to like literally see. I'm like, I've got to beat the news companies to this. So that all being said, what is a 2Swift? Who are you guys? What do you do with the company? Do you want to just go ahead, introduce yourselves, what you do at the company and the product?
So the 2Swift is a two-wheel inline electric skateboard. And essentially it's got 9.5-inch pneumatic tires, front and rear. It has a hub motor in the rear, and I would say it's a combination of like motorcycle performance and then like the handling of a snowboard. So it's I don't know if you ever ridden a motorcycle, it's in the corners you can kind of lean the thing over and you can really take corners with some speed. So the 2Swift is good for that. And at low speeds, it's got pretty good maneuverability and uses more of that caster effect in the front wheel at low speeds. And then at high speeds, when the wheel starts spinning, you kind of get some, gyroscopic forces that keep the front wheel in line. So when it's going faster, you're more using the tire profile to corner. So that's kind of where you get like the motorcycle feel. And it looks intimidating to ride, I would say. Most people kind of think it looks intimidating to ride, but from the experience we've had taking this thing to trade shows, it seems like within 5 minutes people are able to ride it, and then like within 30 minutes people are like they're bombing around on the thing, and we usually get some pretty good feedback after people ride it. They're like, this thing's awesome. I didn't think it would handle like this, and then it usually ends up we get people that continue to come back and want to ride it. So it's been pretty exciting.
Yeah. I came from snowboarding, so just the idea that your leaning is your turning is what brought me to skateboarding and longboarding in the beginning. So that's like when I saw more companies and you guys really being the first to bring it to the market actually. But the cantilevered action to enter turns, and I ride motorcycles too. It definitely is scary, but like you said, it's really natural and it feels really good because it's just naturally what your body would do going into those things. But hey Mo, do you want to say hi? Say hi to the people, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Mo. We've been, I kind of just piggyback off of what Andrew was saying. A lot of people that we've gotten feedback that are current e-skaters or people that have skateboarded, I think the first thing that they say, the maneuverability is what caught them off guard. The looks look intimidating, but when you get on there, it's a very natural feeling, like you mentioned. It's just the turning's a little bit different because of how much more responsive it is, and you don't need to lean as heavily into it to get that, that motion of going back and forth on it.
Yeah, I'll touch on that. So it's just way more fluid, and it takes way less effort to get it, to go side to side across like the center access point. It's I think that catches a lot of people off guard. I know with a lot of the e-skates, you got those tight bushings in the trucks, and you really got to put some force into it to get it to turn. But the 2Swift it's super natural and fluid, and it's very precise.
Yeah, like you said, more stability at speed too. I weigh like 130 dry, 150 pounds with all of my equipment and my gear when I'm riding around. So I'm still pretty light on the spectrum. You can tune bushings and everything, but it's kind of a nightmare when I'm at my weight because either I get to be able to turn around in a street without having to get off the board, or I can be stable at high speed. So that was like a huge compromise. And I've got the Kaly behind me. And I bought that board is a revolution for skateboards because they have like a tightening system for the bushings that tightens it at speed, and they've got this proprietary trademark patent, all of that on it. But that to accomplish it is so much more engineering, and I like first principles, things that are just simple and do it out of the box. So it's so cool to me that you guys are just using physics to get that same action out of it and get that carvability at low speeds and like the responsiveness and the stability at high speeds. And I've seen the turns you guys can do, whipping it around in like a single lane almost. It's just absolutely insane for like a board that can be stable at 25 miles per hour too.
Yeah, Mo and I were talking. I mean, we were riding it like 25 on it seems slow to us now because we've been riding it for a long time. I feel like it could easily go like 35 miles an hour. It feel like if you're just cruising on it, it's so smooth and it feels so nice. And you don't really ever feel like you're going to get, you know, speed wobbles. You never feel like you're going to get speed wobbles, and it feels solid. Like the chassis super rigid and stiff. So we're pretty happy with the performance right now, but I think it has a lot of room to grow into even better performance.
Cool. I think that's a perfect intro. Hopefully I've floated some good edited photos of what we're talking about to the people while we're going through this here. But I'm guessing you guys are on the launch of 100 boards right now. You've actually brought this product to market. It's a whole different thing to be able to do that. So do you guys where did you come from? Where did this all start? And before we get the people to the specs and the board itself and everything too much, like where did this all come from? Because as far as I can see, I see stuff starting in like early 2022 that's publicly facing with you guys. I have a feeling the story didn't start there.
Yeah, so this is the third year we've been working on 2Swift. Mo and I both work as mechanical engineers we work under the Dante Moore Company, which is essentially like a parent holding company located in Cleveland, Ohio. And we have a lot of experience with automotive manufacturing. We have a lot of in-house capabilities, machine shops, stamping, and all different kinds of manufacturing processes. So I guess like our background is, we work to kind of keep these other companies running. And then, we try to start one business, every year. We're not really on track for that right now because this one's actually starting to go somewhere. So we kind of pulled back the reins on that and been putting some focus into 2Swift. But, we're always doing innovative new ideas, and we like to try to get into different niches and different industries that we think are going to grow. But as far as like 2Swift and the Dante Moore portfolio, this would be the first product or one of the first products that is directly to consumer. Most of the other businesses in the portfolio are selling B2B. So we're just kind of stepping out, trying to figure out, how do we sell direct to consumer? How do we do the marketing? So we're pretty new to this, and we're doing the best we can to get it ramped up and, working on being successful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like you said, it's a whole different ballgame working in manufacturing engineering. Yeah, to go from serving other businesses with specialized parts and processes that you guys can pull off, and then taking that and spinning it into like your own product that you're going to get into the hands of people. Mm-hmm. So I guess when we get to that, what was the first did you guys have like a prototype moment where you were just like messing around with this, or did you have the idea first and then the board followed? Like, what was the first moment that you had a remote connected to something that didn't obviously kill you?
I guess so. We started kind of pitching ideas on a whiteboard is really how we started. And we were trying to figure out, how could we make a 2-wheel electric skateboard, that would have good handling and good, essentially good, good handling and good, a good performance. So we developed that caster idea on a whiteboard for the front wheel. That was kind of like the main aha moment, was designing that front wheel. And if you look at it, the angle of the head tube is actually like inclined a little bit forward. So the steering axis is pitched back. And like the idea of that is essentially it keeps the wheel, when you put weight on the board, it automatically wants to put the wheel in the center. And when you lean the deck, it'll pitch the wheel side to side. So that's kind of like the main physics of how it works. So that keeps it super stable at high speeds. So we first, we built a first prototype it was out of steel.
Yeah.
It was this big steel contraption with these huge steel tubes. I think it weighed like 55 pounds or something. It was outrageous. But we got it working, and got the battery hooked up, and then we were, figuring out the motor programming. That's kind of Mo spent a lot of time on that. He can touch on that, but that was probably one of the biggest challenges, is like, how do we get this hub motor programmed, and then how do we get it so no one's going to get hurt on it. You could touch on that.
I always give people the analogy, if you watch the Iron Man movies, our first contraption coming out of that thing was a steel, piece of metal put together, the motor, and we refined it each time, whether it was the motor, the controller, eventually, the final thing, tires and color, is literally like the Iron Man lineage there. But yeah, we played around, prototyping different type of motors, controllers, different settings, batteries, kind of what made sense, where the quality needed to really be refined. And in each prototype, we found like a little thing that in the next design we put emphasis into improving on.
Yeah, we probably made 6 prototypes, I would say, to get kind of where we are today. So we probably designed maybe 3 or 4 of them just to kind of figure out the geometry. And then after that, we kind of put our focus into like, how are we going to make this thing, manufacture it? How do we get the cost out? We still have a lot of work to do on that as we're putting together these 100. We're, every time it's easy to build one and you don't think it takes that long. And then when you got to build,
you guys are making Tony Stark suits for everybody now.
Yeah.
When you got to build 100, you start to realize, oh shit, this takes a long time. And there's still a bunch of things that we need to figure out.
I was going to say, as you got into that process of manufacturing and everything, what was one thing that surprised you that you just like didn't expect to be either exciting or just absolutely terrible? But what was something that you didn't see coming in that process that all of a sudden now, when you're looking back, standing on 100 of these things going out the door, what was that thing where you're like, holy crap?
So like inside the chassis, the battery's got a bunch of these, they're like pressure sensitive adhesive foam strips that go around the battery. And just from putting together these 100, like it just, the adhesive foam strips is just, it takes way too long, and the adhesive's really tacky. So like if you put it on the wrong way, you got to peel it off and it ends up tearing. So like that's probably the main thing I've noticed from building the first 100, that we got to come up with a different solution for that. But it keeps the battery like super snug, and it's all padded. So I like how it works, but as far as the manufacturing goes, it just takes too long.
Yeah, it punishes you extra if it doesn't go perfectly the first time. Yeah. I just love that, because everyone sees these products out in the real world and they see something that's so tightened down and the wiring harnesses have been figured out and run perfectly and all of these things. So it's just funny to like, everyone's looking and we all want to ask, what's the top speed, what's the range, everything like that. And it's so funny that like in the end, the foam in the battery enclosure is one of the things you guys are like fighting the most. And I think that's really important from like a manufacturing perspective, to bring like the products that people are enjoying take a lot of work. Like you guys are thinking about everything, even in the battery enclosure itself, just to keep it moving. So
yeah, it's tough when you're building one, like you don't really notice some of these things, and then like when you got to do it 100 times, it's like, oh god, this is just, it's not efficient. And you kind of just start, as you're doing this, writing stuff down, like what needs to be changed, and then once we build these 100, we'll make some iterations and keep it rolling to make it more efficient.
Nice. Well, I guess at this point, people are probably curious just to talk through the specs. We've gone through them everywhere else. They're on your websites, everything like that. But I thought it'd give us a bit to talk about some of the components, maybe whether or not you guys are doing suppliers or in-house for that. And then I know you guys do some material processing as well. So when it comes down to the top speed and range, you said it's a hub motor. Did you guys use something from a bike for that, or like a scooter wheel, or?
It's more of a scooter hub motor.
Yeah.
So it is a custom hub motor as far as, getting it all to fit in the chassis, but it's similar to some of the scooters that are out there.
Okay, so it is a custom motor system.
Correct.
And then, all right, I'm assuming that most of your chassis and the deck are custom as well, because so much of this stuff, you see plug-and-play stuff from the same supplier every single time, which is nothing against the companies that are doing e-skates right now. But you can tell this is the same deck another company used, this is the same trucks or the same hub motor someone else used. And just with everything you are doing, I can tell it's different. So is anything on your chassis not built in-house, or is that all including fabrication in-house?
The chassis, we're building all that in-house. I mean, obviously we're sourcing some materials, but as far as like machining the chassis rails, that's all done in-house. And then, fabricating that front weldment where that supports the front wheel, that's all done in-house. And then like we are sourcing some of the electronic components, but all the main chassis stuff is done in-house or locally sourced in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's insane. The motor components, I'm actually glad to hear that. I feel like a lot of companies, you can even look at Float Wheel, or Future Motion, excuse me. They use their own programming, their own components and things like that. And then you see the VASC models that are available. And a lot of times it's been done better. It's just like the tuning those components. So I'm glad to hear actually you guys are using industry available motor or controllers, just because that way you don't have to figure it out and you can focus on the engineering, because there's such good companies making those out there. So curious then, what kind of remote have you guys ended up with? Because I've seen a thumbstick style, I've seen the Hoyt puck on your page. What did you guys end up using for your controller?
For the remote, where it's a Spin 10 is the remote manufacturer.
Nice.
I forget what the model is. I think
it's like a Uni V2. It's
Yeah.
whatever their newest model on the remote is, but I think it's
Cool.
called the Uni V2.
And then Spin 10's also making the motor controller, which is a single U-box, I think it's called.
Oh, cool. Yeah. The U-boxes are super high end. So,
and it's like it's the way we have it spec'd right now currently is like we're probably using half the performance of the U-box. So
that's what I was wondering. I'm guessing it comes down to pack right now and what you can put out. What's the battery configuration? Is it like a 12S 3P? Are you guys using 21700s or 1800s, 18600s, I think?
yeah, it's a 12S 3P 21700, and if we're using the Moly Cell P428 cells.
Oh, nice.
And so it's a pretty solid pack. We spent some time on the pack and making sure everything's right on that. But it's like the whole board was pretty much designed around the battery pack. So it's like the battery just fits in there like a glove. It's tight.
Yeah, I could imagine so, especially with 21700s. Like the packs get so much larger when you move to those cells, but having the Moly cells, well done on that, because that's like the brand standard. That's the best in the market right now that most of us are aware of. There's some other prototypes and everything available, but no one's working with those suppliers. So it's cool to see that you guys use something where the pack's not going to die after 200 cycle duties or anything like that. But I think we might be running lowered on time just because of Zoom here. But I thought, is there anything I didn't mention? Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, all of our social media is at 2Swift Boards. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We got our YouTube slowly coming together. But yeah, it's all at 2Swift Boards, and then website's www.2swiftboards.com.
Yeah, and yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I'll put links in the description, everything like that. I want people to go out and find you. For the price, it's really well comparable to a lot of the electric skateboards that are out there. Like the pack that you're putting in is competent, the controller that you're putting in is competent, you've got a good remote, all of that. So it's super exciting to hear you guys are putting out a product that's doing what a super futuristic view or board used to do, just on its own with the way that it's made. So I just want to congratulate you guys. I'm guessing that this might be something that we see going forward in the future too, because other people have had this idea, but you're the first ones to execute it and bring it to somewhere where consumers can actually order it off of a web page and get it shipped to their box. So just congratulations on that. And I'm so excited as a person who loves any form of boarding. I grew up snowboarding, wakeboarding, all of it. If it's a board,
you're gonna like this thing, man. It's fun.
It. Yeah, like I was so excited to see this because that's exactly why I got into everything. And I'm just so excited because there's a lot of stuff happening in the PEV scene right now. There's new ideas coming out all over the place. I just got to try out Meepo has a hand-based controller where you use motion to control the board. It's just a fun time to see all of these new platforms and styles coming out. So I want to just congratulate you guys. Like, you have really changed the industry with this. Because you've brought finally the product that everyone was curious about, and a lot of companies or pseudo companies have had the idea of doing, but you guys have actually brought it to the table, made it a reality. And I'm guessing that this is just going to keep this two-wheel model of electric skateboard in the zeitgeist. And I'm curious to see where this goes, because you see One Wheel and they own that market. There are so many electric skateboard brands, but you guys are doing something completely new, and it'll be really cool to see eventually if, like, instead of calling them two-wheeled electric skateboards, they really should be just called hoverboards or 2Swifts. It's like the Band-Aid. No one calls it an adhesive medical patch. Like, I'm guessing. So I just want to say, like, congratulations. I don't know what we're going to call these things. It seems like right now we're either going to call them hoverboards, and that just does Back to the Future justice, or I think we call them 2Swifts. So, like, congratulations on making just something new, because I'm talking in circles here, but I hope you can see the excitement on my face.
We appreciate it.
This has been my dream for a while. I'd just love to see goofy products, gadgets come out, and like, this is something so cool. So thank you.
We appreciate your support, Mitch. You've been a big supporter with this, and that goes a long way. We appreciate you putting us on your channel and being a supporter of our product. I think you'll be pretty happy with this, and I think once people kind of see the 2Swift and it gets out there, and the build quality is excellent, I would say, and I think people will be happy with it. And I think as we get this out there, there's going to be, obviously we're hoping that we can make some different models and see where we can push the performance and see if we can drive the price down. And there's a lot of things we want to do. We just got to get it out there, kind of get some market acceptance, and we're hoping we can grow with this thing.
Yeah, I didn't want to hammer you on it because we're all thinking it, but I'm like, when can I get the 40-mile-per-hour version? I'm sick in the head. So I'm glad that you guys are already there as well, because that's just what happens when you give electricity and motors to a monkey's brain. We just we want more. So yeah, excited to hear that. To everyone out there, thank you so much. This is a real company. These are real people that have made a real product, that are sitting on this call listening to me talk about them right now. Thank you so much for that. But 2Swift is out here pushing science forward faster than Buzz Aldrin did with his steps on the moon. Feel free to come after me for that one, NASA. But I just want to say, stay tuned to 2Swift on all of the social media channels going forward. YouTube, you're already putting out so much stuff. I hope maybe I can rip some of that off of you. But otherwise, go out, follow 2Swift. Just give them a shout out, show them some love on social media, because they are an electric skateboard company, if I can even call you that, that's bringing something new into the industry. And whether or not it's for you as an electric skater, like this is something that's just gonna make more in an industry we all know and love. So
we want people that are, not electric skateboarders to try it too. Don't be intimidated by it. It's if you see anyone that has one, ask them to try it out, and I think you'll be surprised at how easy it is to ride.
I love the fact that there's brakes. That's the biggest thing too, is most people that don't have the inclination to just step on a board and get moving on it. The beautiful thing is you always have brakes. So I don't mean to just say it for that too, but yeah, I'm guessing, man, if you can land Kaly.nyc, by the way, if you can get him one of those, I just saw him doing some AI shoes that walk you faster, like they help you
walk.
I
watched that video.
Like, what is that? So I hope that he could pick something up. He is like the OG guy. He brought boosted boards to the table, and that's probably where this all came from. So we maybe all owe him a little bit in the end, but yeah, I don't mean to just say it's just for us. I'm just excited from that aspect, but yeah, this is going to be a wild time for everyone to be alive. So thank you so much for your time. If you have anything going forward too, I'd always love to hear from you guys. If you have any crazy ideas coming down the pipeline, or
I guess one more thing. So what we're gonna be attending all the Electrify expos this year. So in May we'll be in Long Beach, and then the rest of the.
Yeah, I want to say May's Long Beach. June will be in San Francisco. July is New York. Can't remember the rest of the timeline, but we'll be in New York, Miami, Austin, and Seattle. So we got 7 cities we'll be visiting this year. We'll have boards out there for demos. So if you got questions, you want to try it out, we'll be around the US this year doing some demo trials.
Perfect. I'll put links to all of those in the description to have those pop up as you're saying them there. It's perfect. But yeah, I will see you in San Francisco at the Electrify Expo. I'm excited to be there, but otherwise I will leave you guys back to it. Seriously, please do get back to work. We are all very excited for what you are doing. So thank you, Mo, Andrew. So nice to meet both of you, and best of luck going forward. Hope to hear more from you.